Thank you for tuning into Project Patriot-USA, and I am Anna Purdue, your host. John Kerry is officially under investigation as the dossier probe targets the Obama State Department. How about that? This article was written by Joshua Kaplan on the Gateway Pundit. Apparently, Fox News contributor Sarah Carter has reported that the former Secretary of State John Kerry's possible role in the Steele dossier is officially under investigation. She states that the House Select Committee on Intelligence has confirmed it is investigating former Secretary of State John Kerry's possible role in the unverified dossier that was paid for by the DNC and Hillary Clinton's campaign. This dossier was compiled by a former British spy. Everybody's probably heard about him, Christopher Steele. And it laid the foundation for the FBI to investigate the collusion between President Trump and Russia. The dossier was the key piece of evidence that the FBI used to obtain the warrant to spy on President Trump's former volunteer during his campaign. The committee has been in its second phase of investigations for over a month now. The focus has been on the former Obama State Department officials, on their role for transmitting or using the information provided by Christopher Steele, who was hired by the Fusion GPS firm. It's interesting to note that Fusion GPS is also under several congressional and Senate investigations as well. Representative Devin Nunes recently revealed to Fox News host Laura Ingraham that John Kerry has been briefed on a second dossier. So this is news. There is a second dossier. There were comments over the weekend from people from within the State Department that were saying that John Kerry had been briefed on that dossier. So whatever this new dossier is, they also provided it to the FBI. Byron York with the Washington Examiner had earlier reported that the Obama State Department was being probed whether or not they had a hand in the dossier. So according to Byron York, Steele was viewed inside the Obama State Department as a valuable source for intelligence for anything to do with Russia. Meanwhile, Hillary Clinton has actually admitted to her 2016 presidential campaign admitted that they helped fund that dossier. So it looks like this Russian probe may be backfiring on the previous administration. And on the world front, it appears we're not the only country having issues with leaks. In Israel, an official document revealing that two highly classified Israeli military systems, which had never been publicly mentioned before, has been leaked in what the IDF is describing as a serious information security error. This leaked Israeli Defense Ministry paper was signed by Defense Minister Avigdor Lieberman and disclosed classified information concerning the military capabilities and operational methods of the Israel Defense Forces. So according to the news outlets, which could not disclose names or details due to the violation of the Israeli military censorship regulations, he did say at least two sections of the document mention top secret mechanisms or systems, that the existence of which has never been mentioned by the IDF. The Defense Ministry Israel missile program also spied on by the NSA, the GCHQ under the GCHQ under, get this, Operation Antichrist. One of these documents was so highly classified that it was forbidden for those who knew anything about it to even call it by name during phone conversations. The other mechanism revealed in the leak was reportedly used by an Israeli military unit for operational purposes, with its publication putting a related top-secret system at risk of exposure. The report had said the information stayed in the public access for a while before it was even taken down. Thankfully, no other media outlets covered it, the contents of it. The Israeli law directs the media to submit to the military censor's office all of its intended publications dealing with issues on national security. The censor possesses vast powers and is capable of fining or completely shutting down any media organization guilty of violations. I would think some serious penalties and fines as well. And in Seoul, South Korea, the South Korean President Moon Jae-in on Wednesday downplayed any possibilities that just because they're resuming dialogue with North Korea, that's going to ease any international sanctions or pressure on North Korea over its nuclear program. The senior South Korean officials who met with North Korean leader Kim JongUn in Pyongyang on Monday also said that the North had expressed a willingness to hold talks with the United States on denuclearization and normalizing ties. Wouldn't that be wonderful? That would be wonderful. The conservative opposition leaders expressed concern during Wednesday's meeting at Seoul's presidential palace that North Korea could use the talks as a way to reduce the pressure, and also questioned whether the North is genuinely interested in abandoning its nuclear weapons. So they're not sure. Is the North just scared and they're just, hot air? Well, let's see. Hopefully they're serious. I want to be optimistic. So Moon said that added that the pressure on the North could only be reduced by substantial progress on denuclearization. I think they will. That's just my personal thought. I think they would be willing to denuclearize. Well, let's see. Anyway, U.S. Vice President Mike Pence still insists that Washington's pressure campaign is unchanged, with all options still on the table. China, which is North Korea's only major ally, is cheering the exchanges between the Koreas and called for a return to six-nation talks on denuclearization that it previously hosted. So what do you all think about that? Do you think this is possible? I'm optimistic. I'm very optimistic about this. I hope that we can get a few calm heads together, and if we can get this six-nation talk going, it would be great to denuclearize all these countries. And on the health front, and let me give you a little disclaimer up front. Every day when I do these videos, I love to give you a health tip, but please, if you have a medical issue, please consult with your medical physician or practitioner. These are just tips about nature. So I want to talk today about shepherd's purse. And this is a pretty little weed. It's a really ugly weed in your grass, but if you let it grow, it produces beautiful little flowers. This common medicinal weed is known for stopping bleeding. And it's also a really good, it's a nice spice for your food as well. But although it is dismissed as a weed, It's one of the most widespread flowering plants in the world. Beautiful little white flowers in the late spring or early spring. In fact, they're starting to pop up right now. They're really pretty. But this plant is very useful medicinally and nutritionally. It's commonly known as the shepherd's purse. You can eat it raw or you can cook it. And it's known for stopping external and internal bleeding. It was initially native to Europe, but it's become nativized in temperature zones worldwide. It can even grow in high elevations, which I'm pretty high. I'm at a little over 2,000 feet, and we have lots of shepherd's purse. It grows, you'll notice it if you live in the city. It's one of the ugly weeds that most people try to pull up. It's one of the first weeds that pops up in the grass. It's just a flat, leafy looking mustard-like plant that comes up in your grass. You'll sit along the roadsides or in pastures and things like that. And like I said, it looks like a flat mustard plant. It is a member of the mustard family. And it's related to plants like broccoli, cauliflower, cabbage, turnips, kale. So it's considered one of your leafy green vegetables, actually. And like many of the crucifers, nearly every part of the shepherd's purse is edible. You can eat it raw or cooked. And other nutrients that are in the shepherd's purse, it's rich in vitamin C and K and beta-carotene and protein and sodium, sulfur, potassium, and calcium. You can eat the leaves raw, which makes a great salad. You put it with your sandwiches, like a lettuce with your sandwich. You can add it to raw or cooked soups. And it has a zesty, peppery taste. So so when you eat it, it'll have a zing to it. And the flowers you can eat raw. The stalk you can eat raw or cooked. And the seeds you can use for seasoning, like pepper. You can take the seeds and just put them in your food. It gives it a nice little peppery zest. And the roots make a good ginger substitute. So if you don't have ginger or if you don't grow ginger, you can actually take the root of this shepherd's purse and use it in place of ginger. And you can also candy it, make it candied into a soup. But the medicinal properties is what makes it really famous, and the fact that it helps stop bleeding. So for instance, if you're bleeding, in World War I, they used it for bleeding, and you can just take a poultice made from the crushed fresh leaves or the dried leaves. You make a poultice with it, and you apply it straight to the wounds. And midwives would make a tea out of the plant and use it to stop the bleeding after childbirth. The next time you go outside and you see that little plant that you think is a weed and you want to put some Roundup on it, which I hope you don't use Roundup, but the next time you see that, pull it up and eat it. Go ahead and put some nutrients in your body that our Father in heaven gives us. And I always want to give glory to our Father in heaven for all the plants that He's given us to sustain our life and to keep us healthy. And with that, I will say good evening, and I wish you all a very blessed day. So if you are interested in learning more about this, put a message down in the message section, and I will be happy to give you more information. So thank you for spending some time with me this evening, and I wish you a great evening, and may God bless you.